I may not be dressed as magically as I would like to for this week's video, but join us as we make our rainbow pooping unicorn bath bombs. And here we are kicking off another bath bomb making video for this week's video. I am your host, Brendan. I am one of the co-owners of the Rustic Tub here in tiny Ontario, and we're just inviting you along our little bath and body care journey. Before we get started and jumping into everything that we're doing, we're just going over what we are doing today. So as I said in the intro, we are making our little unicorn bath bomb. So as you can see, we have our mold ready to go. We did 3D print it from Kata Molds, where we can get the STL file. But from there, everything else is by the book for us. I also feel slightly bad that I am dressed a little comfort frumpy today for today's video, but c'est la vie. Now, going into this mold here, our unicorns is actually one of our fastest selling bath bombs. It's honestly a tie between that one and our Shark Attack bath bombs, which we might do down the road. We've done shorts of these guys, but we've never done a full-on video, and they have been featured in other videos, but once again, not a full making one. And what makes this the #1 selling bath bomb that we have on our line is our unicorns actually poop rainbows. So we are going to be throwing a little bit of imbeds. We have them off to the side. We're going to go over our ingredients list momentarily, and we're essentially just going to kick it off from there. Now, going into our ingredients for today, I know you're probably thinking, skipped over the very short monologue. That's normally a lot longer, but we have a mission today to make these. Now, to get everything kick-started, we already have our baking soda already set aside. We have our citric acid. We throw that at the end. We have our Bioturge cream of tartar and a little bit more baking soda mixed in with our bentonite clay just for our dry mixes. For fragrances, we are using a lavender from Voyager. We have been tested and true to the Voyager lavender because that was our very first fragrance that we got from them, and I feel loyal to keep it that way. Now, going into the next one, we are throwing in a little bit of lemon crazy for it, and it's just because we like our unicorn smelling sweet and sour. It's like those Sour Patch Kids because it's a mystical being, and why the heck not? We've already glazed over our molds for that one. We have our little cup for everything else, so it is a 99% alcohol. We are using our hot pink lake from Fizz Fairy for the dye, polysorbate 80, and a little bit of avocado oil because we throw that into everything. And we also melt down avocado butter for our mix too, just for skin sensitivities, because avocado oil is healthy and trans fat and it doesn't clog the pores of the skin. So suffering from eczema, psoriasis, this helps prevent any flare-ups. It doesn't stop it. It just helps soothe it. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to start by mixing our baking soda and our other dry. And I will see you when we are ready for the next portion, which will be measuring out the wets. So before the actual mixing occurs, I'm going to see if I can tip it down for everyone to see. So I threw in a little bit of diluted with water of the hot pink lake that we threw in from Fizz Fairy. So that's going to be our dye portion for it. I'm going to go ahead, add our cream of tartar and everything into this one now regarding that, just because it's a lot easier for it to mix up. It'll help bloom the color in there. And then as this is mixing, we're going to continue on with the liquid part. So that's when that portion is going to come up now. So I'm going to throw this on, and then we're going to continue from there. So while everything mixes in the back, you can probably hear it going. I'm just going ahead and starting off with our avocado butter that I melted down. And right from there, I'm slowly adding in our alcohol, and that's just because we don't want it to set up. This will evaporate, so this helps with water content in the bath bomb. So the more water you have, the more activation you are likely to have. With alcohol, you can balance that out because as a solvent, it will disappear over time. This also helps as well, just because it doesn't help set up our avocado butter to become a solid right away. With our avocado oil next, I'm just going ahead and doing a nice slow pour of it for the desired amount. And this will just help with your skin And then we will be going right on into adding the polysorbate 80, which will help blend our oils and everything together so it doesn't feel like an oily mess. Finally, I am doing our fragrance. So I'm starting with our lavender first, just to get that going, get that in there. And I do a 50-50 split of that. So it's 50% lavender, and now coming in with our 50% lemon crazy with my sloppy pour. And then I will give it a little mix just to get everything really situated in there. And then we will be going ahead and adding this mixture into our batch that's already on the mixer. All right, and now we are just going ahead, adding in our liquids into our batter. We're gonna let it go ahead and just solidify up. I do like a wetter batch when it comes to our specialty shape bath bombs, just because it does hold the shape better. And then finally, we are just adding in the citric acid for it, and this will be the base of our bath bomb. So we'll let it go ahead, mix it up a bit. From there, I'll be able to tell if it's going to be too wet or too dry, and we'll make that decision from there. So once this is done, we're going to go set up, and I will see you when we are ready to press. All right, we do have our batch ready to go. She is nice and a perfect consistency and texture for what I like. And as well, I do have a little bristle brush just off to the side. This is just to help me clean the mold in case any crevices get stuck. And I also have a spoon just in case we need to knock it out. Something gentle. So we already have our imbeds lined up. So it is a 1 part baking soda, 1 part water. And we have our dyes ready to go. So it's going to be a rainbow pooping unicorn. So we get to have fun. Everything can be random. I'll bring the camera angle down so we can have our first initial press. Okay, I'm going to try to keep everything in here. If I go off the camera, don't mind me. We're coming right back. So I filled our mold about halfway. I'm going to go ahead and insert our embeds for it. And I'm only doing a couple at a time. I don't have a real placement for it. I just know that I want it to be fun. So that's going to be our nice little rainbow embed. From there, we're going to go ahead, fill it right back up. Once again, if I'm off the camera, most apologies for it. I level it out on the top, go ahead, squeeze it out. I will apply my pressure on it, get it going, and hopefully we should be able to lift it off from the back. And if anything happens from the back, I'm not too worried. Like this little piece just came off. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead now, though, do a flip over, throw it down, and it's upside down to you, but we have our first pressed unicorn for it. And I will see you when we get the rest of them all rainbowed up and ready out on the board. So here is our first original one, and we did get 12 out of the batch. As well, we do have nice little tester ones that we are able to send out in our order so people can have fun. You can probably see that inside each of them, they do have a little purple embed as well. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to let these babies cure overnight, and I will see you when we are ready to paint them. It's actually been about 24 hours, so our unicorn molds, they are all done. They're all set up, nice and sturdy. I'll do a drop test because bath bombs are supposed to be a little bit stronger. So you just take the little one, a little tester one. All the pieces are fine. You don't have to smack it on the counter to find out. You can just do a finger press. But they are ready to go. We have our 12 unicorns ready to paint. So we're going to bring it down and we'll show you our simple tactic to painting them because these are probably the most colorful ones where we got to stay in the lines. So we'll bring it on down for you and go from there. So here we are, they're all lined up. If you've watched our videos before, you know that we like to use the 99% for our painting of the bath bombs, and that's just because it is a solvent, so it does dissolve when it hits the air. It's not going to activate your bath bombs, and it's really just fun when you can paint your mica colors on there. So you'll see I already have pre-filled ramekins with colors. These are my painting pots that I use, so we will be using them today. And we will also be using a nice little eyedropper just for the eyes, and I'm going to show you now how that's going to go. So the eyedropper I use to paint our eyes because it's just super easy for me just to extract it from the little test tube nozzle and squirt it on in. I pre-put the colors in for it, and then I will mix about half of a bottle of 99. And then that way it gives me a really strong color to work with. And a little goes a long way with this. I also find it helps with a mold like this where the eyes are indented, where you have a little bit of an easy axis to follow through. You kind of stay in the lines with that. When it comes to bath bombs like our clouds, I just do a couple of drops and then I go ahead and hand paint all the details of the mouth, the eyebrows in, the facial reaction. I'll just go from there with whatever feels right at the time. So easy as that. We have all of our eyes done for there. We're going to go ahead and mix in our 99 into our ramekins, and we're going to continue the paint process. So I'm going to start with the harder portions here. I'm going to start with the horns, which will obviously be our golden yellow, and then we will move on to our little hairpiece. So you'll see the process for that. So I'm just doing enough to coax the bottom of it. If it drops anywhere, this is where the bonus is, because the reality is it's not going to activate your bath bomb. So from here, I just go ahead with a very light hand on top. I will paint our unicorns. If a little does go over, it's okay. Everything is made by hand. That should be your key selling point with your products. And we want people to be wowed by what you can do with hand painting stuff. So when it comes to little details like this, I just go over again, see if I've missed anything. And you can probably notice I'm holding my hand. This is just a habit I picked up from the film industry as a makeup artist, just to keep everything steady. I have my arms fairly close to me. I just want to make sure that I get the cleanest lines I can. Up next, we are using a lavender mica powder from Fizz Fairy. I've said earlier in the video that all of the micas we use for our colorings and any kind of bath bomb painting is Fizz Fairy. So I'm going to go ahead, leave that one just off to the side. I'm going to prop my finger up against it just so I can get the detail I need to get and the sturdiness of it. Just because this one does have fine corners, and I like to be a perfectionist when it comes to this. I have had times where the paint does go over, and I will say it is okay, just like that moment. But if I can prevent it, I will do whatever I can to prevent it so I can personally have my level of perfection. I will say for these portions too, you can also use an eyedropper bottle technique for it. It does the exact same thing. You can just work along at your own pace. I don't have any prepared in these colors right now, so I'm just showing the different variations of what we use to paint, just so you can kind of get an idea and play around with it. The easiest one you can do is literally buying a bunch of pipettes off of Amazon or from your local bakery store, and you can make the same mixture as you want, and then you can squeeze the pipette so you get a fun little design trail going on. That is normally a very common one, very effective, looks really good. And we even do it with some of our other bath bombs that we still have on this line to this date. The possibilities are endless with what you can do. You can also use an airbrush as well. Just dilute your color with alcohol and you are good to go. With that one done, our unicorn hair is complete. So now all that we have left to do is just painting our little feet. So that is a whole other little story. It'll go by just as quickly as the other ones. So I'm just putting in the 99% for our lipstick red mica, and you guessed it from where. And then what's really good, if you have any of your little samples left over, is little test swatches. So you can go ahead, paint them up if you want. It really helps to show you the clarity of it. And it also shows the transparency of the color. So if you want a more bolder look or a more watered down look, this is where you can test them out. The best thing is these are going to customers who order online. So it's a nice little tester batch just to showcase to them what they could be getting if they order the Unicorn 1 color-wise. So I'm happy with that color. I'm going to go ahead now, prop my finger and my hand for this. And I literally just go across the board painting their little feeties. And it doesn't take long to do as you're seeing it as I'm doing it. Just if you have a bunch of bath bombs that you have designs for, that's the part where time will really catch up on you. But it really kind of is a relaxing focus just to turn your brain off and do something mundane and as fun as painting bath bombs. And you're probably thinking we forgot half the bits. This is just my way of working. I always do the outside first, and then I'll go back in and do the inside. So, no, I did not forget. I just have a very specific way of how I paint. There is no wrong way. This is just my way. All right, with that, they are done. So I go ahead, I'm gonna let this dry out and evaporate. That way I can just add the 99% to this again and it will activate all my colors and I can just paint from there. So with this being done, our unicorns, as simple as they are all set to go. Which also means that is it for this week's video. So nice and simple, fairly straightforward. This is as most colorful and complicated as we get with our shapes for now. That'll probably change over time, but I do like to leave these out for another hour, let them fully set up and let the alcohol fully evaporate, because if you start wrapping them right after, your mica powder will still be wet, so you could transfer that color onto everything. So case in point, if we do any of that, you can kind of see, maybe if my lighting is a little bit better, just how much it can transfer. And with that being said, we are officially done for this week's video. So thank you so much for joining and tagging along as we go through this and making more of our stock for everyone. If you like what you see, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell for notification. I'm starting to jumble up my words because I'm trying to remember what we have to go through. And feel free to follow us on our social medias where we do our best to stay up to date. And as well, be sure to check us out on Patreon where we have all of our recipes and variations of recipes for everyone to access for our Gold Tub members. So for now, thank you so much. We will see you next time, everyone. Bye.